Welcome back everyone, Mariah Monetize here, and in today's video we have a lot to cover in the space, from Voyager halting withdrawals to the new announcement that we have with BlockFi and a potential plan to save Celsius, or for us to at least get some of our funds back today. So I'm going to be going over all of that today, and with the new announcements coming from BlockFi, how I feel about leaving any funds on the platform, and if I have changed my mind on that subject. And then we will round off this video at the very end with a Bitcoin price review to see what Bitcoin is up to heading into the weekend. So, just to start off here, Voyager has suspended all trading, deposits, and withdrawals. We know that there was some withdrawal issues taking place over the last week or so. I personally did not have any funds on Voyager, but that is what's happening over there, unfortunately. So it's not a very good time to have any funds on exchanges, lending platforms at this point. Like I mentioned many times, not your keys, not your coins. So if you haven't started withdrawing already, probably not a bad time. So new information coming out around BlockFi. Before I get into that, I kind of just want to mention I have removed all funds from BlockFi, and I took off the last $86 today. And I was going to withdraw that. It was GUSD, and I was actually going to withdraw that a few days ago, but it was like $40 to withdraw $86, $40, like almost half. It was either 40 or 50, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not gonna do that. And I'm like, I'm gonna wait until the first of the month to get that free withdrawal. But then I forgot that BlockFi completely restructured their withdrawal fee system. So now there are no free withdrawals. Usually it was just that one free withdrawal per month. BlockFi has eliminated that, and their fee schedule has changed. So now it's cost $25 to withdraw something like GUSD. You can check out the fee schedule to see, depending on your coin, what exactly the withdrawal fees are. I have no interest in keeping my funds on the platform, and just so you guys know, there's a lot of information coming out. We saw a rumor going around that FTX is going to purchase BlockFi for $25 million, which is insane because they were raising money at an evaluation of, I think, as high as $2 or $3 billion at one point. And I think this last round of funding, they were raising money at $1 billion. So you can see just how much the dynamic of the business and the valuation has changed dramatically. So Zach Prince, who is the CEO of BlockFi, excited to share an update on our previously announced term sheet with FTX and how we've broadened the scope of the initial deal for the benefit of all BlockFi stakeholders. So yesterday we signed a definitive agreement subject to shareholder approval with FTX for a $400 million revolving credit facility, which is subordinate to all client funds. We know this was previously $250 million, and also an option to acquire BlockFi at a variable price of up to $240 million based on performance triggers, which is also crazy considering everything that I just mentioned on the valuations that BlockFi was raising money at. This together with other potential consideration represents a total value of up to $680 million. We have not drawn on this credit facility to date and have continued to operate all our products and services normally. In fact, we raised interest rates effective today. I mentioned in my previous video how BlockFi was raising rates, still not worth it to keep your funds on there to get an extra 0.5% from 3 to 3.5% on your Bitcoin. So we can go ahead and take a quick look here at the rates. You can see for your first tenth of a Bitcoin from 3 to 3.5. Yeah, I'm still not interested. All of this information coming out about BlockFi, to me, it's nothing really positive. Although we're still able to withdraw, it's not worth it to keep your funds on there. So what events led up to this deal with FTX US? Crypto market volatility, particularly market events related to Celsius and 3AC, had a negative impact on BlockFi, obviously, right? I mean, they're basically all doing the same thing with not much transparency. So it's likely that another one will fall after Celsius. The Celsius news on June 12 started an uptick in client withdrawals from BlockFi's platform, despite us having no exposure to them. Yes, of course, that was expected. It's good that he has confirmed that. In the same week, 3AC news spread further fear in the market. While we were one of the first to fully accelerate our over-collateralized loan to 3AC, as well as liquidate and hedge all collateral, we did experience an $80 million loss, which is a fraction of losses reported by others. $80 million is still nothing to mess around with. So I'm not going to continue with this, but if you want to check out the rest of the thread with Zach Prince, you can go ahead and check that out. Okay, so also there was this interview on YouTube that took place yesterday. It was a 2-hour long interview. So it was with Simon Dixon. Simon Dixon, he is involved with Bank to the Future, and Bank to the Future owns a 5% stake in Celsius. So this right here is the video Celsius recovery plan. It's a very long, in-depth interview of all the options and what's kind of happening there. Okay, there's also this right here, banktothefuture.co/Celsius. And this is basically a potential recovery plan of different things that could happen. So to me, this is a bit on the complicated side. I've read it a couple times. I encourage you to go take a look at it. But I kind of just wanted to give you some things to consider that were said in that interview of just options and potential scenarios that could play out when it comes to Celsius. So what's important about this particular website, if you are someone who has deposited funds on Celsius, they basically give you 3 kind of scenarios of what could play out. And, they have the authority to call a shareholder meeting with Celsius. And so they want to hear your feedback, actually, as a depositor, what you would prefer in the situation, because they want to hear from the community and know exactly what everyone else thinks is kind of the right decision. So basically, in the case that Celsius would file a bankruptcy, they would have to sell all assets, which would technically drive down the price. So that's one thing to consider. If they took the route of bankruptcy, then that would just drive down the market even more. So that is a big possibility. Bankruptcy is on the table. So if you're someone who thinks that Bitcoin has already hit a bottom and then it's not going to go any lower, that is one likely scenario that could happen that would trigger Celsius to sell a lot of Bitcoin, other coins, and take down the market quite significantly. So keep that in mind. Another thing that was mentioned in this video, which I found to be really important, is the custody versus the earn account. So when Celsius no longer allowed US customers to make new deposits to earn interest, this custody wallet was created. So there is a possibility that there is going to be a difference in the priority of who takes out their funds. So for example, it's kind of like bank terminology. And when it comes to a custody account, that's basically, the idea that that account, the money's not going to be loaned out. It's going to stay there. And so there might be some priority with people that have funds in a custody account versus an earn account. Me personally, I'm actually split 50-50 between the two. So that's kind of, actually I take that back. I'll have to go back to my transactions. I may have moved everything to my custody account the day before the whole situation happened. And so if that is the case, then I would kind of be in a decent position. So something to consider there. So they were basically kind of, comparing this to the Mt. Gox situation, which happened, I believe, in 2014. And so people are just now getting their funds back when it came to the whole Mt. Gox situation. That was 2014. So it was 8 years ago. So keep in mind that this could be drug out for a extensive period of time. So I just say that so that you're prepared. The idea of this being solved soon is highly, highly unlikely. And I think that is because we will continue to see Bitcoin experience a bear market for a year or two, potentially longer. And that is going to, Celsius is going to have a more challenging time when it comes to withdrawals. So there is this kind of also situation that is comparable to what Bitfinex did. So basically, we would all, as depositors into Celsius, we would all get tokens that are shares in the company, basically, to where you have the option. If you want to sell those tokens immediately, it'd be something probably different than the Celsius token, I would imagine. And so if you wanted to basically sell those and cash out as much as you can, then you could, or if you believe in Celsius for the long term, you could hold on to them. And in the case of Bitfinex, some people got a 16x return from that scenario. So that is another thing that could play out. It is highly likely that Celsius was engaging in fractional reserve banking. What we realized is that there was not nearly as much transparency as we thought, and that Celsius was taking they were just involved in higher risk plays with our funds, which obviously led them to this situation. I also saw today on Twitter that I think Celsius has brought down their liquidation price again to somewhere around 12,300. So in that range. Before it was, I believe, 13,400. So liquidation price has been lowered, which is a good thing. Simon talked about if this is a liquidity issue, it could be best just to wait it out, which could take 6 months, 2 years. That is another approach as well. So in order to better understand and kind of make a decision on this, is that we have to really know, is this a liquidity issue? Or is Celsius not solvent? Like that is the main thing there. So he also mentioned these lowball offers, right, from Goldman Sachs, all those things. That is probably the worst case scenario. He believes is an acquisition for a lowball price. So that's kind of what was gathered from that. So yeah, basically, if you are a holder, you can probably check out that website, give your feedback, listen to the interview, read through the page and see what you want to do. I'm not really exactly sure what I think the best option is, so I still need to take some more time to fully understand all three options in this case. So that's kind of the information that we have when it comes to Celsius. I want to say, I may have seen that Celsius posted an update today, but it might have not been it. Oh, 30th, okay. Operating with the entire community and all clients in mind, we continue to take steps to preserve and protect assets and explore the options available to us. Our latest blog is here. So this was actually posted yesterday. This is actually, I think, like right after I posted my video. Across Celsius today, we are focused and working as quickly as we can to stabilize liquidity and operations in order to be positioned to share more information with the community. We are operating with the entire community and all clients in mind as we work through these challenging times. We continue to take important steps to preserve and protect assets. This is basically what we've already heard. This is them saying hi and bye. Honestly, I can only imagine the debate that's happening internally at Celsius. And that's why we really haven't heard many updates, because I think there's probably a huge divide of what big decision needs to be made. So enough of these lending platforms. If you want to get started with a Ledger Nano S and secure or hold your own coins and have full custody, I have a link down below for a Ledger. So I use a Ledger and been using it since I first got into the cryptocurrency space, and I think you should definitely look into getting one. So let's quickly go over the price of Bitcoin here. Well, we've already hit 14 minutes. I've been blabbering. So let's go ahead and zoom out to the weekly chart here. Last night, we saw quite a bit of a bump on Bitcoin. I mean, the weekly chart is really giving us nothing. One thing I wanted to mention when it comes to the price is that this activity in the $20,000 range is reminding me a lot of when Bitcoin traded in the $6,000 range, which it did for months. And so it kind of just went between $6,000 and $7,000 for an extended period of time, which I can actually just show you right here. So as you can see here, there was quite a bit of trading happening in that range. And so, what happened after that? Bitcoin still drew down quite dramatically to $3,000. And so that kind of this price action here has me believing that we are going to go significantly lower. The weekly chart isn't really giving us much. This right here is the daily chart on Bitcoin. So we have not made a lower low, but let's see. In the next 4 days or so, I'd be keeping a very close eye to see if Bitcoin goes below the low of this candle, which is 17,567. That's kind of the situation there on the daily chart. Just kind of waiting to see how it plays out. Bitcoin kind of made a run up here to $20,879. This right here is a 12-hour chart, which has made a lower low. Would like to see it I am honestly, I hate to say it, I'm rooting for the price to go down because I am so ready. Like, I am starving and I'm ready to eat a Bitcoin at like between $10,000 and $15,000. I am ready. So a lower low on the 12-hour chart. This right here is a 4-hour chart, which, let's see here. Technically, we have made a higher high if you take this high into consideration. If we can hold the low right here and make a higher high, I have it and get above, let's see, the high of this candle, which is 20,879. That could be good news on the 4-hour chart. This right here is a 1-hour chart here, doing a little bit of sideways trading, not giving us much direction at this point. This is a 30-minute chart, which is kind of slightly trending upwards. 30-minute chart actually looks decent. This right here is a 15-minute making a higher high. That is good news. You might see some strength head into this evening. 10-minute chart also as well. So let's see here. Let's take a look quickly at the 5-minute chart. 5-minute chart making a higher high, looking okay. I want to hold the low of this candle, which is about 19,250. Correlation as markets open today, but less correlation towards the end of the day when markets started to approach the end of the day. So that's kind of the situation there. And this is a very long-winded video. Hopefully you've made it to the end. So that is all that I have for you today. Like I said, if you want to check out the Ledger Nano, I have a link down below for that. So I hope you have a great weekend, great 4th of July weekend. That's all I have for you today. As always, go out there and create a portfolio that you love.